Finally, you were born. Pregnancy and childbirth were not easy at all. After a gestation period of up to 4 months, this pregnant hyena leaves to search for a den some distance away from the hyena clan. It is usually a cave or den for another wild animal, or she may have to dig it herself. Death during childbirth is a possibility, as the reproductive organ from which you emerge is very narrow and resembles a penis. Actually, it is called a pseudopenis. Therefore, it is possible that you will get stuck and not be able to get out, so you will suffocate and die. And this may be dangerous for the mother as well. Also, your large size and weight at birth, which reaches about 1.5 kilograms, which is the largest of the cubs compared to the size of the mother among all other carnivorous animals, does not make the process easier. The mother's reproductive organ is partially torn to facilitate the birth process, and finally, it is done. Fortunately for you, you are born as a female spotted hyena cub. You have a black fur, and unlike most other mammals, you are born with your eyes open and you already have fangs. Your mother provides you with highly nutritious milk for a year and a half. This milk has the highest protein and fat content among all the milks of carnivores. One of the biggest threats you face at this age is your siblings. Hyenas are very competitive animals, and the stronger cub may kill the weaker ones. But this often happens during times of drought and lack of mother's milk. Fortunately for you, you were born alone, so you don't have to worry about that and you can get as much milk as you want. Your mother may have to go hunting, and at this time, you are at risk from other types of predators that kill each other's young to reduce competition for food in the future. But the den that your mother stole for you is small and narrow, and you can hide in it without the claws of these animals reaching you. Your mother returns, and after a few days, she takes you to the communal den, where you will meet the rest of the members of the hyena clan. The clan consists of a number of hyenas, which may reach 100 hyenas in strong clans. They are led by a dominant female, as the hyena clan is a matriarchal society in which the females dominate the males. This is because the females are larger and can weigh between 65 and 75 kilograms. This is equal to the average weight of a human being, or half an American. While male hyenas are approximately 10% to 20% smaller and weigh between 40 to 55 kilograms, females also have high levels of testosterone, so they are fierce, aggressive, and mean. The hyena clan also follows a strict hierarchy, and the cubs rank directly below their mothers at birth. At the highest rank is the queen or the dominant female, followed by her cubs and daughters. Then come the other relatives, followed by their cubs and daughters. Then come the non-relative females who join the clan, followed by their cubs and daughters. Then at the end of the ranking come the males, as the lowest female in the clan is higher in rank than the highest male. Well, there are rare cases where there is a dominant male leading the clan, but as we said, this is the exception and not the rule. But you know what? It's your lucky day. You were born as a female cub to the queen. You come directly after the queen in rank. This means better food and better protection as long as your mother is near you. When the mother leaves to hunt, you are alone, and your rank will be of no use to you. You will be bullied by the rest of the cubs and even the big hyenas, and you may be injured or even killed. Fortunately for you, your mother came at the right time to save your ass this time. The hyena clan is very competitive with each other and only unites in hunting and defending their territory. The rest of the time they bully each other to maintain their ranks and get more food and more cubs. You will be bullied as long as your mother is not around, and this may cause you to lose your rank over time. Even if you hide in the den, this will protect you from the big hyenas, but the small cubs can enter and will catch you and kick your ass in your house. Your rank had already begun to decline, and one day you got tired of this situation and said, "Enough is enough," and you decided to fight back. This is good for you. Over time, your fur turns from black to yellowish gray, and the spots characteristic of your species begin to appear. When you are 5 months old, you will gradually begin to eat meat in addition to breastfeeding. Your mother will provide you with meat, and she and your older sisters will stand to protect you while you eat to prevent thieves and intruders. This situation teaches you the importance of alliances. In the complex society of hyenas, forming alliances is very important and begins at a young age. You will form friendships with some high-ranking cubs, often your relatives, in order to play together and bully the rest of the cubs together. And in the future, you will hunt together. As time goes by, you start to integrate more into the clan, and now you are as violent as them, and will do anything to reduce competition and maintain your rank. Help! Someone has had an accident! At the age of 1 year, you are now ready to go to training and participate in hunting with your mother. Hyenas hunt in small groups, usually consisting of 3 to 10 individuals, and sometimes they hunt individually. And despite their bad reputation as thieves and scavengers, hyenas are primarily hunters with a very high hunting success rate. And thieves and scavengers too. You are now 2 years old and you stopped breastfeeding months ago, and you're old enough to lead a hunting group yourself. Successful hunting begins with choosing the right prey. The choice usually falls on younger, older, or injured prey as they are easier targets, and the chase begins. You have a large heart that represents about 1% of your body weight. Anatomically speaking, throw that away. This heart is relatively stronger than the heart of a lion, which constitutes only 0.5% of its body weight. This enables you to chase prey at speeds of up to 60 kilometers per hour and over very long distances until the prey gets tired and stops, so you begin to surround it and bring it down by biting and pulling. But please, don't be an asshole. I think this is not an option for you. One of the things that gives hyenas a bad reputation is that they begin eating their prey while it is alive. They are not like lions or other felidae that strangle and kill their prey before they begin to eat it. Damn, that's harsh in my opinion. Hyenas do not waste any part of their prey, even bones. You have a very strong jaw that enables you to crush and break bones with a powerful bite that is considered one of the strongest bites among all mammals, stronger than lions, tigers, and bears. Also, you have a strong stomach and very concentrated stomach acid, whose concentration ranges between 1 and 2 pH. This enables you to digest the toughest foods and bones and extract nutrients from them, to the point that most of the time, hyena feces are white balls that contain no wasted nutrients except calcium in excess of the body's need. You can even take it and write with it like chalk. This stomach and strong acids also enable you to eat decomposing carcasses without infecting you with diseases that might affect other predatory animals if they ate them. Sometimes you may be exploitative and steal other animals' prey, but contrary to what is expected, most of the time the opposite is what happens, as lions and wild dogs steal from hyenas more than hyenas steal from them. On your way back, don't forget to patrol, put marks, and define your territories with a white gelatinous substance with a strong smell secreted by anal glands called hyena butter. You stick it to the stems of grass and bushes along the borders of your territories. Hyena clans usually do not enter the lands of other clans except in times of drought, and this is not out of respect, but rather out of fear. The smell of this substance is not only distinctive for each hyena clan, but is distinctive for every individual in the same clan and is used to identify each other. Mind-blowing, right? For example, hyenas greet each other by raising their feet to allow each other to smell and lick each other's genitals. This behavior is like presenting your CV or profile through which the hyenas know your gender, age, affiliation, mood, social status, and sexual status. But smell is not the only way to communicate with each other. In addition to your common name, spotted hyena, and your funny scientific name, Crocuta crocuta, you are also called the laughing hyena because of the sounds you make, which are far from laughter. The spotted hyena has a wide vocal range and multiple physical movements through which it communicates, with sounds ranging from shouts, rapid shouts, grunts, groans, low laughs, laughs, screams, growls, soft laughs, loud laughs, moans, soft squeals, and others. When you reach puberty at the age of 2.5 to 3 years, this will not make a big difference to you as a female. You will remain in the clan, hunting, mating, giving birth, raising cubs, and such things. But if you are a male, then the happy days are over for you and life is about to take a completely different turn. Before puberty, if you are a male, you will begin to spend more time on the borders of the territory, away from the clan. And when you reach puberty, you either remain in this state or choose to leave your natal clan, which is what often happens because most of the females in the clan are your relatives, and they do not prefer inbreeding. So believe it or not, male hyenas leave in search of love. Well, actually they are looking for mating, but these are just details. You will roam the lands relying on your keen senses and the hunting skills you learned while in the clan to survive. You will eat anything you can get from birds, small animals, or even rotting corpses. At the same time, you avoid confrontation with other animals because the lone hyena is weak and in constant danger. Therefore, you make a very dangerous decision. Either you approach a group of roaming males like you and hope that they accept you, or you try to enter the territory of another clan and try to join them. But this is very dangerous because they may kill you before you even introduce yourself. When you reach the new clan's den, you approach slowly and bow your head as a sign of submission. It seems that you are not submissive enough. this is not enough either. The dominant female approaches you and you greet her, putting your vital organs and stomach at risk as a sign of good faith. Congratulations! It seems that you have been accepted into the new clan, and since you are a male and a newly joined member, you are at the bottom of the hierarchy and have the lowest rank. You will be bullied by all clan members, including the cubs, and you will not be able to defend yourself. You will eat in the end, even if you participate in the hunt, and you will be grateful if they leave you some bones and leftovers. Even the mating process is completely controlled by the female, and you cannot force her to do so. As we said, females have a reproductive organ that resembles the male organ, and it can even have an erection, which is called the pseudopenis, and the female urinates, gives birth, and mates through it. This false penis shrinks during mating to make the process easier for you. You can imagine the difficulty of the process if the female was not fully cooperating with you. Okay, don't imagine. Let's get over it. Cubs can recognize their relatives and their father, but this will not make them affectionate towards you. But at least they will not bully you. Good morning to you too, ma'am. As a result of mistreatment, poor nutrition, and your constant eating of bones and bad foods, your teeth break and your condition quickly worsens. Therefore, males live on average 6 years, and this is much less than the average lifespan of females, which reaches 12 or even 20 years. But fortunately for you, you are not that male. In this region of the world, in the coastal waters of one of the tropical or coral islands, you begin your life as an egg that quickly hatches into one of the zooplankton that floats in the water and is tossed here and there by water currents. It's hard to believe that this tiny creature, measuring only 1 to 3 millimeters, would become this giant armored monster that is considered the largest terrestrial arthropod living today. But let's not get ahead of ourselves. You feed on plankton and microorganisms, and you yourself are food for many marine creatures, such as small fish, some types of whales, and even crabs and other crustaceans. You molt about 5 to 6 times within 30 days, and your size increases slightly each time, after which you enter the glaucotho stage. You are starting to resemble what you will be, but you are smaller, transparent, and fragile, and after several more molts, you become a juvenile. You look like adults now, but you are smaller in size. And like your closest relatives, the hermit crabs, you swim down to find yourself an empty gastropod shell to enter to become your home and a means of protection from predators. After a short while, you move to the beach, but you must be careful as there are many predators there. Oof, that was close. But seabirds are not the only predators. There are rats, larger crabs, and other animals that will be very happy to tear you apart. You continue in this state, moving between the shore and the sea to search for food. Over time, you molt and increase in size. You search for a new shell that suits you, so you enter it and leave the old one. A crab without a shell is a dead crab because you have a hard exoskeleton that only covers your head and thorax, while your abdomen is soft and vulnerable and needs a shell to protect it from predator attacks. But protecting your butt isn't the only reason you need a shell. You keep a little amount of water inside it so that your body and gills are moisturized and they work efficiently, and you don't die from dehydration. Over time, you began to become a permanent terrestrial being, to the point that you gradually began to lose your ability to breathe underwater, and your gills began to atrophy, and you began to breathe air with an organ called the branchiostegal lungs, which are located on the lower side of your body, but you must keep it moist for it to work efficiently. As your size increases over the course of 1 to 2 years, there is no shell large enough for you to enter, so you sometimes begin to use coconuts as a shell, but it is a temporary solution, and sooner or later you will abandon the idea of shells completely. Your body began to become noticeably larger and your exoskeleton became tougher, and it even began to deposit chitin and calcium carbonate on top of your abdomen, forming a very tough layer of leather. You also hide your abdomen under your body like other crabs, even though you are not a real crab. To be a true crab, you must belong to the infraorder Brachyura, but you, like your hermit crab relatives, belong to the infraorder Anomura, also known as untrue crabs. I don't know if this matters to you, but let's move on. You are considered a nocturnal animal, coming out at night to search for food to avoid heat and predators, and using your very strong sense of smell to do so. Although you have compound eyes, their ability is limited. Your vision is blurry and is a mosaic of thousands of pixelated images, and most of your brain cells are directed to the sense of smell. You have an olfactory system consisting of antennae that connect to thousands of chemical receptors that help you determine the type and direction of food. Speaking of food, you are considered an omnivore, which means that you eat anything you can get, whether animal or plant, fruits, seeds, leaves, and even hard coconuts. You have two huge claws with a crushing force equivalent to 1,700 newtons, which may reach 3,300 newtons in large crabs. To get an idea of how powerful this force is, it is enough to easily cut off a human finger, and it outweighs the bites of many terrestrial predators. And for some reason, the left claw is always larger than the right claw. These two powerful claws enable you to crush coconuts and eat their pulp. You can even climb a coconut tree and drop the fruits yourself. And thanks to the toughness of your exoskeleton, you can descend from a tree that is 5 to 6 meters high by jumping down without getting hurt. As for taller trees, you will have to descend from the tree gradually in the same way you ascended. But these are not the only benefits of these claws. You use them to dig a burrow for you, as well as to defend it against intruders, and to protect your food against exploiters who want an easy meal. You also use them to steal some human items, such as spoons, forks, knives, etc. And this is why you are also called the robber crab. The most likely explanation for this behavior is that you steal these things because of the smell of food that wafts from them. So you think they are food. You are also a scavenger who eat carrion and dead plants. Not only that, but you are considered one of the most famous scavengers because your species was accused of eating the body of the famous aviator Amelia Earhart when her plane crashed near a group of tropical islands, and thus her body was never found. I've never seen her before, but this theory does not have enough evidence to support it, so let's move on. You are also considered cannibal and have no objection to eating crabs that are smaller than you, whether of the same species or of another species. Although you are not a skilled hunter, you are very exploitative. It has been noted that you can climb trees in search of bird nests in order to eat the chicks, or even the parents. Or you may catch mice and other small animal that approach your burrow. During the day, you stay in your burrow that you dig in the ground to avoid the heat and harsh tropical climate, and you close the entrance with one of your claws to retain moisture inside. As you grow older, you molt periodically every year and your size increases, but at this stage, you are weak and vulnerable. So you perform this process near the burrow and eat the old exoskeleton to compensate for the lack of nutrients, and you remain inside the burrow until your new exoskeleton hardens within days. Sometimes an exploitative competitor appears to you who wants to steal your burrow or food, so you enter into a claw fight with him and defeat him. Oh, unfortunately, you lost one of your limbs in the battle, but this doesn't matter, as you can regenerate this limb within several months. After about 5 to 6 years have passed, you have now become an adult crab. Your size is large, and your colors range between blue, purple, red, orange, and brown. You will continue to molt and grow throughout your life, and your weight may reach 4 kilograms or more, and your length may reach a full meter from tip of leg to tip of leg. During the months between May and September, you are ready to transfer your genes and begin searching for a mate through the pheromones that you smell with your antennae. When you find a ready female, this is where the difficulty begins. Okay, kids, you can stop the video at this point. As for those who are not children, you can continue. You wrestle with it with your claws until you can flip it onto its back. I believe this is evidence of your strength and worth. Anyway, mating then takes place in the missionary position, face to face, belly to belly, or whatever you call it. Unlike your closest relative, the hermit crab, which have a long pair of antennae-like male reproductive organs called genopods, they enable the male and female to mate while they are still partially inside their shells so that the shell is not stolen during mating, which is a common occurrence. You have one of the shortest male reproductive organs relative to body length, so you ejaculate a jelly-like mass of spermatophores down the female's thorax. Not in her, but on her. I guess you don't have everything big in the end. After that, you will have played your role in the process and left. As for the female, she will keep the spermatophores, and within a few days she will produce a large number of eggs, about 50,000 to 200,000 eggs, and fertilize them externally by passing them through the mass of spermatophores and sticking them under her abdomen for a period ranging from 4 to 8 weeks. When the time for the eggs to hatch approaches, the female heads to the beach to release them into the water. This process is very dangerous for her because coconut crabs have lost the ability to breathe underwater and swim as well, and they may drown while releasing eggs. Therefore, it must cling well to the rock so as not to be swept away by the strong sea waves. Returning to you, you have increased greatly in size recently and have become at the top of the food chain on this island. You have no predators now, and you defeat and terrify your competitors simply. You can live the rest of your life, which may reach 80 years or more, in peace. You are invincible.
Huh?
Oh, well, sort of. This is you. It seems that you are not alone, but let's start from the beginning. This female mosquito searches for a suitable place to lay its eggs. It could be a pond of stagnant water, a swamp, or even a water tank or an old swimming pool. What is important is that there is water in it. Some types of mosquitoes lay eggs scattered one by one, and some other types lay a group of eggs and stick them together in the form of a raft consisting of 50 to 300 eggs at a time, depending on the type. The eggs hatch quickly in most species, after about 2 to 3 days, and here you are, a newly hatched mosquito larva. The first thing you need to do is to remember that you are not a fish. You need to breathe air. So you quickly return to the surface of the water to breathe, but you do not breathe through your mouth, but through your butt. Not exactly, but there is a tube extending from your back door called a siphon, which you take out from the surface of the water in order to breathe. When you are threatened, you close it and quickly dive down by a wriggling motion and flap your entire body in an S shape. So you are called Wriggler. You also dive to get food. You feed on algae, microorganisms, aquatic plants, and organic debris found in the water. But you better be careful, because you yourself are food for small fish, frog tadpoles, and even dragonfly larvae and larger mosquitoes larvae, such as the elephant mosquito. You continue in this state, breathing, eating, and avoiding being eaten for a period ranging from 7 to 10 days, during which you go through 4 molts, and each time your size increases slightly until the 4th molt occurs, and then you officially enter the pupal stage. At this stage, you are not feeding, but you stay most of the time near the surface of the water, breathing air through a pair of respiratory trumpets that emerge from your upper body. You are very sensitive to any movement around you, and if disturbed, you swim down by flipping your body with jiggly acrobatic movements. And this is what earned you the name Tumbler. After 2 to 3 days or more, depending on the species, you emerge from the pupa and finally become an adult female mosquito, and emerge on the surface of the water in a scene as if from a movie. You stay on the surface for a while until your body and wings dry, and you are ready to fly. You have a very short lifespan, ranging from a week to a month, and as a result, the first thing on your priority list is reproduction. In some types of mosquitoes, the males wait for the females at the surface of the water and mate immediately after the pupae turn into adults, even before they can fly. As for you, after your wings dried, you began to fly and search for a partner to mate using the pheromones that both males and females spread alike. After the process is completed, you begin to search for your first meal. Contrary to what is common, there are more than 3,000 known species of mosquitoes, only 200 of which feed on blood. And of these 200 species, only females feed on it, which they need to obtain the protein necessary to form eggs. They don't do this for fun or to annoy humans, but they are forced to do so for the survival of the species. In addition, most species and all males feed on nectar, honeydew, and plant juices, and are considered plant pollinators, like bees. Hey, how dare you compare this bastard to me? There are species that feed on blood that do not necessarily feed on human blood. Some of them feed on the bodily fluids of other insect larvae and earthworms, and some of them feed exclusively on the blood of animals other than humans. Also, there are small species that parasitize on relatively large mosquitoes and suck from them the blood that they have absorbed from other animals. Go away, you dirty, annoying mosquito! Of course, I'm not saying that you should love mosquitoes. That's not possible because in addition to the inconvenience they cause you, mosquitoes transmit serious diseases such as malaria, dengue fever, Zika virus, elephantiasis, and others, which kill about 700,000 people annually. And this number far exceeds the number of humans who die as a result of other humans. And believe me, we are very good at killing each other. But back to you. You found a cow full of delicious blood. You go straight to it. But suddenly a hungry dragonfly attacks you. You try to escape as quickly as possible, and he chases you. Fortunately for you, a praying mantis caught it. But unfortunately, this bird notices you and starts chasing you. You manage to escape from him, avoiding this spider, this lizard, and this frog as well. Is there anyone not trying to kill me? Come on! You notice this house and go to it to hide from the rain. Wow, this giant's blood looks delicious. As a mosquito, you use your olfactory system via odor receptors on your antennae and head to locate a host. You can smell the carbon dioxide that comes out during breathing, as well as the smell of sweat and skin oils from a distance ranging from 35 to 170 feet. When you approach a distance of 15 to 50 feet, you use your large compound eyes to determine the host location more accurately. It's not your best feature, but it does the trick. When you reach a distance of 4 feet or less, you feel the host's body heat. Then you have arrived. You use multiple parts of your mouth, which resemble a surgeon's tools, to make a microscopic opening in the skin and insert your proboscis inside. You inject the host with your saliva, which prevents blood clotting and also numbs the microscopic wound sites. In order to absorb as much blood as possible, you will excrete waste and excess water than the body needs. You are practically defecating on the host while absorbing his blood, but you are forced to do so because if you didn't do so, or you were greedy. Fortunately for you, this did not happen, and you started sucking the blood.
Huh?
Hey, I'm trying to make a living here! You stupid giant! Wait, I'm a male! I didn't do anything! You have antennae that enable you to sense any change in airflow, and you also have wings that beat at a tremendous speed of up to 600 times per second. This allows you to maneuver and escape quickly. But from here begins a series of confrontations between you and this human that has no limits. For example, one time he brought in Bug Zapper. How ridiculous, I won't be drawn to that.
Wow.
Hey, stop! I think it works sometimes. And he chases you one time with a fly swatter and another time with an insecticide. But eventually you are able to suck enough blood to begin producing and laying eggs. You lay eggs in batches of 50 to 300 eggs at a time, depending on the species, and you devote the rest of your life to one goal only, which is laying eggs. You may produce about 3,000 eggs during your life, which may last only 1 month, or maybe less. This is you. In bushes or a cave far from the pride, the lioness gives birth to 1 to 4 cubs, who are a bag of meat and fur, blind and unable to move. This situation continues for a week, during which your mother provides you with milk so that you grow up and can see and crawl. Sometimes your mother may need to leave to hunt. During this period, if any predator discovers your location, you will be dead because other predators try to reduce competition and future enemies, so they resort to this measure. Fortunately, your mother came to your rescue. Well, most of you at least. But don't be sad. You will have the opportunity to do the same to other animals if you survive. This shelter has become known. Your mother will move you and your siblings to another shelter from time to time. After 8 weeks have passed, you can now walk and you are ready for your mother to introduce you to the pride. Most of the time, females give birth in the pride simultaneously, and you can get milk from any of them, as all mothers participate in caring for the young. But what you have to beware of are the cubs who are older than you, who are not yet aware of their strength, and for them, you are a toy, and they may kill you while playing. Your father will not be kind to you and may punish you severely if you interrupt his nap. Now that you are 4 months old, you are able to run and play, and out of curiosity, you begin to chase small prey. All of this is useful for learning, but be careful, as curiosity may be fatal. You start eating meat, but your cruel father will teach you the hard way your place in pride and at the dinner table. And it's down here, at the bottom. But sometimes he lets you share food with him if he's in a good mood. One day you are surprised by the attack of a strange lion, and despite your father's cruelty, you will encourage him with all your strength as if your life depends on it, because it really depends on it. If the dominant males in the pride are defeated, the new kings will go to kill the offspring of their predecessors, including you, so that they can mate with the lionesses and create their own offspring in pride. But fortunately for you, your father is very strong. When you reach 1 year of age, you begin to actively participate in hunting, and you will be assigned some simple tasks, such as dispersing and chasing herds of prey and forcing them to head to the ambush set by the lionesses. When you grow older, you carry out the hunt yourself and launch your ideal attack. You lurk for the prey between the bushes and suddenly attack and grab your fangs in the prey's neck to strangle it to death. But be careful of large animals. If you are injured, this may be your end. In fact, only 12% of cubs reach adulthood. But congratulations to you. You are among the 12% who have reached adulthood, and this is where the real problems begin. If you are a female lion, things are simpler for you. You will join the females and participate in hunting. But if you are expelled from the pride, it is not easy to find an alternative group for you, as the females in the pride are sisters, mothers, and aunts, and they will not easily allow a strange female to join them. But if you're a male, when you reach puberty at the age of 3 years, the dominant males will expel you from the pride and you will begin to travel in the wild, moving in the lands called the domain, which are the lands between the areas controlled by other lions. You are not yet ready to demand your own territory, especially since you are alone. You will use the skills you have learned over the previous 3 years to survive, and you will begin searching and hunting small animals, such as birds, monkeys, or anything you can catch. Damn, this is delicious. There is nothing wrong with being a scavenger and stealing carcasses and prey from other predators at this time. As days pass, you become a master at stealth and hunting and start preying on larger animals. Well, this time you have to leave the prey to the hyenas. This forces you to take a rather harsh measure to reduce the competition. Although you are one of the strongest creatures in the animal kingdom, you are not invincible. So you try as much as possible to avoid crossing rivers, as crocodiles and hippos will not be tolerant. In order to control a territory, you must first form an alliance with other lions, who are often your brothers in pride who were expelled with you, or even other lions. You form a gang of 2 to 6 members and begin hunting and moving together. This alliance encourages you to claim your own land, so you head to battle. Well, these guys seem so strong, you'd better withdraw. They look like a bunch of clowns. So, you enter into a fierce battle with them, and you are able to defeat them, so that you become the new kings of pride. Lionesses do not mate as long as they have cubs, and in order to start passing on your genes, you have to get rid of the cubs. It is cruel, but this is the law of the jungle, and I do not set the rules, I just follow them. As a lion, you are a symbol of masculinity, and you are trying to maintain your image and reputation. You begin to mate with all the females in the pride about 30 to 50 times a day. Wow, this sounds exhausting, but don't worry, as a dominant lion, you spend most of your time resting and sleeping, while the lionesses do all the work of hunting and caring for the cubs. While you are relaxing and enjoying your time, you are sometimes interrupted to participate in hunting a large animal, defending the pride from the attack of other lions, or protecting the food that was hunted from the attack of other predators. When you reach the age of 15, if you are a human, you are in your teenage years. But as a lion, you are now in old age and have shown signs of weakness, and it is only a few days until a young and ambitious lion comes and kicks your ass and removes you from the throne. In the best case, he will either kill you or you leave the battle with minor injuries. But if you leave with major injuries, you have no chance of surviving. Imagine that you wake up one day to find yourself born as an ant. There are 3 possibilities. Either you are born as a queen, your mission is to eat and lay eggs, or as a male, live a short life, your mission is to eat and mate, and you die shortly afterward. Or the worst possibility is to be born as a female worker. You're not even a complete female, you can't lay eggs. But you are not a lucky person. So you are born as a worker in the colony. You live the first weeks of your life in comfort, eating to transform from a larva into an adult. And this is the only comfort you will get. Once you become an adult, you assume your duties in the colony, including cleaning and caring for the queen and larvae, feeding them, transporting eggs, and more. As days pass, you become old enough to go outside the colony to collect food. And because you are an ant, you are on the menus of many other animals and insects. So throughout your search for food, you look around to avoid danger. You do not want to be caught by a bird or attacked by a spider. But suddenly, you fall into a hole that you did not notice, and you discover that this hole was made by an insect called the antlion, and he is now sitting in the center of it, throwing grains of sand at you to make you fall while you are trying to hold on and struggle to get out of the hole by all means. Lots of drama and horror that doesn't matter to anyone but you. In the end, you get tired of trying, give up, and fall to be eaten by the antlion. And when he finishes with you, he throws your skeleton out of the hole. But if you don't fall into the hole in the first place, you will continue your dangerous journey in search of food. But it is possible that on your trip, you will meet another unfriendly insect called the assassin bug. This insect will inject you with enzymes that dissolves your internal organs so that it can absorb it like juice. But this is not the only benefit from you. It takes your skeleton and pastes it on its back to make it appear larger and avoid attacks by other insects. Even if the other insect decides to attack, the only thing it will get is a pile of dry skeletons, including you. But if on your journey, you do not encounter any killer bugs, antlions, spiders, or any of these dangers, and you find a substance on the ground, then you decide to taste it and you like it. But then you discover that it is snail vomit, but it tastes sweet, so you eat it. This was a stupid decision. As time passes, you feel sick. You are now carrying the larvae of the liverworm. The snail was the first host, and you are now the second host in the worm's life cycle. The larvae settle in your brain, control it, and force you to go out to grassy places so that any herbivorous animal can eat you. Thus, the larvae reach the animal's liver, transform into a worm, and lay eggs. The eggs come out with the animal's waste, and the snail feeds on the animal's waste. Once the eggs hatch, the snail vomits the substance containing the larvae, and this substance is eaten by the ants. So the larvae control them, and the animal eats it, and so on. But if you did not decide to eat this substance and found better food and decided to return to the colony, and on the way you encounter a friendly ant that wants from you a portion of the food that you ate and stored in your social stomach and not in your regular stomach. Since you are an ant, you have two stomachs, one of which is for storing and transporting food, and the other is a normal stomach. Also, since you are an ant, your eyesight is weak, so the only way you recognize friends is through your antennae, and indeed, he touches your antennae and gives you a sign that he is a friend. So you give him some of the food stored in your stomach for the larvae. You have just been scammed and deceived. This is not a friend, and it is not even an ant. It is a type of fly that deceives ants and steals their food. After you lose the food you collected, and on your way back to the colony, you feel a sting, and you look around and see nothing but the executioner fly, the smallest fly in the world flying away. So you do not care and return to the colony, but you feel very sick and that something is moving inside you. This fly injected you with its eggs, and they hatched inside you and turned into larvae that ate you from the inside. And within days of suffering, you can now rest forever. After 2 weeks, these larvae reach the head and begin to eat it. And after a full month, these larvae turn into flies and emerge from the head in a scene from horror movies. But if you can avoid this sad scenario from the beginning and arrive at the colony safely, after a full day of exhausting work, you will have the opportunity to take a simple nap for a few minutes and then return to work. But as soon as you fall asleep, you suddenly wake up to a voice telling you, "Wake up, son! We are under attack! The colony needs you!"
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early
Go back and fight, you coward! You do not find any way to avoid combat. So you enter a battle with the enemy with a high probability of death. And if you die, you will not receive honors, burial ceremonies, or a military funeral. But your body will be turned into lunch for the rest of the colony. This was my friend! And this is the ultimate sacrifice. But some species of ants take the concept of sacrifice to the next level. Explosive ants in Malaysia, when the colony is attacked, behave suicidal. For the colony! He explodes himself at the attackers. Do not get me wrong, this explosion is not fire and flame, but rather the ant's internal entrails in its large stomach. When it is subjected to great pressure, it explodes and forms a green substance that hinders the movement of the attackers. But back to you. If you and the rest of the colony are able to repel the attack this time, some of the attackers are too strong to be confronted. These dangerous events are routine tasks in your life that are repeated day after day. After you become old and have lived a long life for 2 full years, or sometimes less, and you want to have some calm and a comfortable retirement, one of the colony members comes to you and says your mission to defend the colony is not over yet. And while you are standing guarding the entrance to the colony, you remembered an old prophecy that you had heard about since childhood, about the doomsday of ants and the yellow death that would descend from the sky. Suddenly, without warning, you found that the prophecy was now being fulfilled. You looked at the sky and found the yellow death descending from it. Bravely, you decide to block the entrance to the colony with your body and say your last heroic words. I am not afraid of death. I have fought alongside brave ants in great battles, and I have fought strong enemies who deserve respect. I have lived a true life. What an epic end. Well, this is you. In the Beehive, terms like free will, ambition, and independence are like garbage, meaningless. Your life, your future, your career, and even the time you will live depend on the type of egg you emerge from, and luck. The worst possibility is that your egg is unfertilized egg. After 24 days and after several molts, you will emerge from the wax brood cell as a fully developed male bee, or what is called a drone. And despite your wonderful name and your large size compared to worker bees, you are useless. You do not have the necessary organs to collect nectar and pollen and make honey, such as a long tube-shaped tongue to suck nectar, nor a pollen basket on your hind leg to collect pollen, and you do not have a stinger to defend the hive, even if you tried.
Huh?
Even you cannot feed yourself on your own and depend on worker bees for that. But you have one special organ. You guessed it, it's your penis. You also have long hind legs suitable for your only task in the hive, which is to mate with the queen. On a calm and beautiful day, usually in spring or summer, the queen bee begins to fly outside and releases pheromones that attract drone bees from the hive and neighboring hives in what is known as the wedding flight or nuptial flight. She flies quickly and the drones chase her. A large number of them die in flight, and only the strong drones are able to catch up with her. One of them surrounds her with his legs and begins mating. And just like you when he finishes, his muscles relax. So the queen is able to break free and begin flying quickly again, pulling the poor male behind her until his penis is torn apart along with some of his internal organs, and he dies. This process is repeated more than once in order to obtain the largest possible amount of semen and store it in an organ called the spermatheca. The surviving males become a burden on the hive, so the worker bees stop feeding them, expel them, or even kill them in a phenomenon known as the male massacre. Even the coming generations of males are like excess blood. If there is less food in the hive, they are killed. If the number of bees in the hive increases, they are killed. If the temperature rises, they are killed. If the queen wakes up in a bad mood, you guessed it, they are killed. Well, this is a bit of an exaggeration. In fact, the workers often expel them and do not kill them, but they eventually die from hunger and weather conditions. But if you are lucky and your egg is fertilized egg and the mother queen bee happens to be old, or if the number of bees in the hive increases significantly, or she no longer exists for any reason, the worker bees transfer about 20 fertilized eggs to special cells called queen cells, and when they turn into larvae, they are fed exclusively with royal jelly, which is a food produced by the workers that is rich in protein and nutrients. This diet is the only thing that makes you a queen, and without it, you would be an ordinary worker bee. Royal jelly contributes to the queen's larger size, the complete development of her reproductive organs, and her ability to lay eggs and release pheromones. The first thing you will do after leaving the brood cell as a virgin queen is to kill and expel all the other candidates and even kill the queens that are not yet fully developed. After about 3 days, you emerge from the hive for the first and often the last time to perform the nuptial flight in which mating with the males takes place. After you successfully return from flying, the worker bees clean you of the male reproductive organs stuck inside you. And if the old queen is not present, you will start laying eggs directly. But if she is still there are several possibilities. The first possibility is that the old queen will take a swarm of worker bees and drones about a half of the hive and leave in order to establish a new hive in another place. This process is called swarming and does not occur unless the number of individuals in the hive is large enough to allow this, and the old queen is still able to lay eggs efficiently. The second possibility is that the queen is old and no longer able to lay eggs efficiently. So the workers launch a military coup against her and kill her by gathering around her and flapping their wings at high speeds, which raises the queen's temperature and cooks her alive. The third possibility is that if you are merciful, you will allow her to isolate herself in one of the corners of the hive and leave her until she dies a few days later because the workers will stop feeding her. After getting rid of the old queen, you begin to lay eggs and release pheromones with which you control the hive and prevent them from raising other queen bees and prevent the worker bees from forming fully developed ovaries and laying eggs. You continue to lay eggs at a rate of about 2,000 eggs per day, and you determine whether they are fertilized or unfertilized using the semen you keep in the spermatheca. You live from 3 to 5 years until your turn comes, as it was for the previous queen. But if your egg is fertilized and the conditions are not prepared for you to become a queen, after several molts, you will emerge from the wax brood cell after 21 days as a worker bee, like most of the 30 to 60,000 bees in the hive. You are a female with incomplete reproductive organs, so it's not your job to lay eggs, but pretty much everything else is. And you will assume your duties in the beehive gradually depending on your age. You emerge from the brood cell as a complete worker bee, pale, wet, and with drooping wings. Due to your weakness, you remain still and embrace the brood cells containing the larvae, working to warm them. Meanwhile, you do not eat the honey and pollen stored in the wax cells, but rather obtain your food by begging from your older sisters as a result of the weakness of your jaw muscles. Well, it doesn't happen like that, but the older bee extends its tongue towards your tongue and a drop emerges from its crop and you lick it off. During this time, you also clean the cell from which you emerged so that it is ready for the queen to lay a new egg in it. But if the queen inspects the cell and does not like your work, you will be forced to repeat the cleaning again. You remain in this state for 3 days until your jaw muscles strengthen and you begin to depend on yourself for nutrition, as you devour large amounts of pollen and honey. On day 3 to day 12 of your life, you will be called the nurse bee, and you will know why now. On the 3rd to 5th day of your life, you begin to produce honey bread, which is a mixture of honey, pollen, and water, on which the large bee larvae that are more than 3 days old feed, except for the queen larvae, if any. On the 5th day of your life, your body begins to produce what is called royal jelly, which is what small larvae feed on from 1 to 3 days old, and queen larvae throughout the brood period, if any. You also offer it to the queen, so she extends her proboscis into your mouth to feed on it. You also take care of the queen, clean her, and care for her, and you unintentionally spread her pheromones through which she controls the hive. The pharyngeal glands that secrete royal jelly begin to gradually atrophy, and your rectum is filled with waste, so you begin to exit the hive for the first time. The purpose of your exit is to make short exploratory flights, where you fly in a circle around the hive until you identify the signs and the area surrounding you, and you also carry out the process of emptying the rectum outside the hive, as bees never defecate inside the hive. When the royal jelly glands dry up, you move from above the brood comb to the honeycomb adjacent to the entrance to the hive, where you meet the older workers returning from their visit to the flowers laden with nectar and pollen. You and the small workers take the nectar drop by drop and begin to transform it and produce honey through special enzymes that you possess in your mouth and your honey stomach. You hand the honey to another bee to store it in cells designated for storing honey, then she cools it and gets rid of the moisture in it with her wings. Then she closes the cell with wax to preserve it. Also, you store pollen grains in specially designated cells. When you reach 12 days old, you transform from a nurse bee into a construction worker. As a result of your previous conversion of nectar into honey, your body absorbs large amounts of sugars, and your wax glands, which are located on both sides of your abdomen from below, mature and develop. You begin to secrete wax in the form of husks, which you chew to soften and use to build and repair the honey and brood combs. When the wax glands dry up around the 18th day of your life, you move from construction work to cleaning and guarding. You clean the hive and ventilate it, and you also throw the larvae and dead bees out of the hive to prevent infection and contamination. At other times, you stand at the entrance to the hive and guard it. And like any security guard, you prevent intruders and thieves, defend the hive, bully the males, and things like that. What are you going to do, huh? You don't even have a stinger. I have another type of stinger, if you understand what I mean, and I can stab you with it, but that will be of no use. Motherfucker, get out of my face before I kill you. Sometimes you notice a strange honeybee approaching, but it carries nectar and pollen with it, so you allow it to enter. I think you have no objection to accepting bribes from time to time. You also allow strange males to pass through, as they do not pose a threat in prosperity times. Well, not until they get a welcome gift from you. You can go now. The hive is sometimes attacked by some creatures that seek to steal honey, such as some other types of bees, some types of birds, wasps, and mammals. When an attack occurs, all members of the beehive participate in defending it. Well, except for the males. They do not have stingers, as we said. Bees use stingers to attack enemies, but unfortunately, unlike the queen, when worker bees sting, part of their body comes off along with the stinger, and they die. There are several other techniques by which the bees defend the hive, such as gathering around the attackers and flapping their wings at a very high speed, to the point that it raises the temperature by several degrees Celsius, thus cooking the attacker alive. So this method is called the defensive hot bee ball, but this method also has its cost. And if you are among the victims, do not wait for a burial ceremony or a military funeral. Rather, your body will be thrown out of the hive like a garbage bag. When you are 21 days old, you are called foraging bees, and you begin to undertake tasks outside the hive, such as collecting nectar, pollen, water, and other important things for the hive for the rest of your life, which is not a long period. Worker bees live only 40 to 50 days, or 5 months in winter at the latest, all of which they spend serving the hive. While you are preparing for your first mission outside the hive, you are surprised by a forager bee that enters the hive and begins dancing. Poor bee, she has lost her mind. What? She shows us where the nectar and flowers are. Come on. You go out with a large group of foraging bees to collect nectar and pollen, and this is where the real danger begins. While you are heading to the nectar sites, suddenly, you are attacked by a bird, and one of the bees is eaten, and now the bird is heading towards you quickly. You try to escape quickly and rush between the dense tree branches to hide, but unfortunately, you are not able to notice the spider web in front of you, so you get stuck in it. The spider approaches you, so you try with all your strength to get out of the web, and fortunately for you, you succeed this time. Oh, fuck! But suppose you survive and reach the places where the nectar is located. The danger is not over yet. Sometimes when the temperature rises in the summer, the nectar in the flowers ferments and turns into alcohol. If you suck this type of nectar, you get drunk and may fall and be unable to fly. And you may die for any reason in this situation. Even if you succeed in reaching the hive, the guards will not allow you to enter and will expel you, and they may tear you apart because drunk bees may cause massive destruction to the entire hive. But don't worry, these are a few cases. You can start sucking the nectar, collecting pollen, and storing it in special pockets in your back legs called the pollen basket. As you move from one flower to another, you contribute to spreading the pollen grains that are stuck in the hairs of your body through electrical charges. These same charges are what attract scraps of paper when you rub a pen with your hair and bring it close to them. When you finish your task, you return to the hive with the nectar and pollen, and the process of making and storing honey begins by the younger bees. Sometimes the temperature of the hive rises, so you have to go out to bring water on your back and evaporate it using your wings to cool the hive. Drones sometimes participate in this task, practically turning from a man into a fan. One day, the hive is subjected to a major attack by a group of wasps, and after a violent battle during which a large number of bees fall, you and the other bees are able to get rid of the danger. While examining the bodies, you are surprised that the queen is among the victims. The queen is dead! Chaos spreads in the hive, and some bees begin to leave. You decide to play the role of the hero and act and solve the problem. So you immediately transfer some fertilized eggs to the queen cells. And after the brood period passes, the new queen emerges from the cell and goes to mate. You feel proud of yourself and stand in the typical hero pose, happy with what you have achieved. Get back to work, you lazy bee! 65 million years ago, dinosaurs were the dominant species on planet Earth, on land, in the air, and at sea as well. They came in various shapes and sizes. Dinosaurs ate grass, and others went out to hunt, a land that was restless and teeming with activity and life. Mammals at that time were like weak dogs. Most of them were no bigger than a cat, so they had no choice but to know their position well and put their tail between their paws like any weak dog and dig a hole or find a place to hide themselves so as not to be prey. This was the golden age of reptiles. But one morning, suddenly, nothing happened. It was another normal day, but what was not normal was what was happening in space when Jupiter managed to attract a large asteroid the size of Mount Everest into its orbit. But the asteroid managed to escape and head directly to planet Earth, and within a few days it would arrive there. If we assume that the dinosaurs were watching the sky, they will see something new appearing in the sky, shining like a star and getting bigger every day, until one day it appeared like another sun, and it started getting bigger and bigger and bigger until the dinosaur realized, oh shit, it's not getting bigger, it's getting closer. At a speed approaching 60 times the speed of sound, this asteroid crosses the atmosphere within 1 second and collides with a coast near the Yucatan Peninsula in Mexico. The asteroid is destroyed and releases energy equivalent to millions of nuclear bombs that exploded at the same moment. The thermal radiation resulting from the collision reaches tens of thousands of degrees of temperature. It travels at the speed of light, burning everything it encounters within a radius of 1,500 kilometers. The Earth's crust was blown away as if it were a liquid, and a crater 25 kilometers deep and 150 kilometers wide was formed. This caused materials equal to 60 times the size of the original asteroid to fly out into space. The collision caused an 11-magnitude earthquake that shook the entire planet. This was the most violent earthquake the planet Earth had ever witnessed. This massive earthquake caused a huge volcanic eruption in India that lasted for 30,000 years, during which the Indian subcontinent was covered with lava. Although there are several studies that say that the volcanic eruptions were not caused by the asteroid but only happened with it. Whatever happened, the worst has not happened yet. The asteroid collision caused seawater to rush backwards hundreds of kilometers, forming tsunami waves up to 1 kilometer high. This height is greater than the Burj Khalifa, which reaches a height of 800 meters. These waves are not only higher than the highest towers we currently have, but they are also higher than the towers we will build in the future. Drowns everything it encounters hundreds of kilometers from the coast. And let me tell you, all of this and the worst has not happened yet. The debris and materials that flew and penetrated the atmosphere, part of it headed into space and collided with the moon, but the bulk of it returned to the Earth due to gravity. And on its way back, its temperature rose due to friction with the layers of the atmosphere. When it reached the Earth, it caused the temperature of the entire Earth to rise as if it were oven for a few minutes, killing many creatures instantly. Not only that, but these burning embers led to the outbreak of huge fires all over the planet and continued for months, which led to the death of most of the dinosaurs, either by burning or suffocation. And they had no way to escape except to hide in a cave or bury themselves to avoid the fires and all of this, and the worst has not happened yet. Materials emitted as a result of collisions and fires are trapped in the atmosphere, blocking sunlight from the planet, plunging it into complete darkness with no source of light except the fires that burn the planet. This leads to the death of most plants that depend on sunlight for photosynthesis. But when the fires go out, the temperature drops dramatically, and the world enters an ice age that extends for decades. This leads to the death of 75% of the species on the planet Earth, and ultimately to the death of all cold-blooded dinosaurs that derive their body heat from the heat of the surrounding environment, and thus the age of dinosaurs has ended. This theory, developed by Dr. Luis Alvarez, Nobel Prize winner in physics, and his son, geologist Walter Alvarez, is the closest to being true among a group of other theories that do not have strong evidence to support them, as they found a layer of the Earth containing large quantities of the element iridium, and this element is rare on Earth and often comes from space, with some other evidence of fires, debris, and volcanic eruptions in the same time period. But the Earth refuses to forget those who ruled it for millions of years. Some dinosaur corpses fall into a sea or a swamp, and clay, sand, and ash quickly deposit on them, preventing their decomposition. The minerals in the water and sediments seep into the bones and replace them in a process called mineralization, which turns the bones into a mold of stone, but it takes the shape of a skeleton. It remained there until an earthquake or flood occurred that revealed one of the planet's secrets. Although dinosaurs and paleontology were discovered recently, humans have known about fossils since ancient times. When humans dug wells or plowed land, they found fossils. But because of the large size of the structures and their fossilization, humans interpreted their existence as giant, rocky monsters with one eye, and this produced the myth of the Cyclops. When the ancient Greeks found skeletons of a Protoceratops dinosaur, they interpreted their presence as a lion with the head of an eagle, and from here, the myth of the griffin was formed. When the ancient Chinese saw the structures, they called them dragon bones, especially since they appear after thunderstorms. They said, this must be a dragon that was condemned to death and came down from the sky and was burned. To this degree, it was difficult to believe that they were creatures that inhabited the earth in ancient times and were all extinct. Although there have been several attempts to explain the existence of these fossils, this drawing was the first serious scientific attempt to study them. This drawing was drawn by the scientist Robert Plot in 1677, or he ordered someone to draw it, of a giant thigh bone. He described it accurately and wrote his theories about it. Robert's first interpretation of this bone was that it was of a creature that existed in ancient times and became extinct. He said that it could be the bone of one of Hannibal Barca's elephants that he brought to occupy Rome. But there was a puzzling question. If this bone belonged to one of Hannibal's elephants, how did it reach the British Isles? He concluded that this explanation was illogical. But it was the thigh bone of a giant man.
Are you serious?
At this time, no one objected to believing in the existence of giant men. The important thing is that this bone was lost and remained the drawing. After Robert, several studies appeared of fossil teeth or bones, but no one knew what they were or what creature they were until a small incident happened. A woman named Mary Ann was walking around outside and found a strange rock shaped like a tooth. Normally, she would have left it and gone, but this woman was the wife of the doctor and paleontologist Gideon Mantell. She said that this could be a fossil, so if I took it home, my husband would be very happy with it. Although there are opinions that say that Mantell was the one who found it himself. The important thing is that he got the tooth. After studying, he concluded that this tooth belonged to an unknown extinct animal, giant, vegetarian, and lizard-like. But he did not have any evidence for any of these conclusions, so he consulted a friend of his called William Buckland, who advised him not to rush until he collected sufficient evidence. Indeed, Mantell listened to his advice and continued studying for 3 years, collecting evidence and consulting his scientist friends. One of them told him that this molar resembles an iguana's tooth. Mantell liked this analogy and decided to name his discovery Iguanodon after the iguana lizard. Now that he had collected sufficient evidence, he was ready to announce his great discovery, but he was stabbed from behind. His friend William Buckland, who advised him to postpone the announcement of the discovery, was preceded by his own announcement of the discovery of the bones of a mysterious, giant, extinct lizard. It turns out that Buckland was studying a jaw similar to a crocodile's jaw, but different and much larger, so he named the animal he discovered Megalosaurus, meaning the great lizard. The situation has now become more complicated. Who discovered dinosaurs? Is it Buckland, Mantle, the wife? What we conclude is... Seriously, the scientific community considers Buckland to be the one who discovered the first dinosaur, and he is the first to announce and publish research on this. But until now, there was no term dinosaurs. Yes, there were 2 discoveries of ancient creatures, but they were not enough to establish a special classification for them in the animal kingdom, until Mantle discovered a 3rd lizard, which he called Heliosaurus. Then a scientist named Richard Owen decided to add a special section for these creatures and called them dinosaurs, meaning terrible lizards. Hence, the door was open to a whole branch of discoveries and research related to dinosaurs. Everyone who had fossils who did not know what they were now knows that they are from extinct reptiles called dinosaurs. But the largest share of these discoveries was made by 2 scientists called Edward Cope and Othniel Marsh. Cope and Marsh were American paleontologists, friends, rich and wealthy people, and they were digging for fossils, and the situation was so good among them that they would name their discoveries after each other as a form of appreciation. Until a dispute broke out between them, no one knows the reason for it, but it started a war of bones between them. The hostility between them turned into a race in research and discovery. Each one of them wanted to surpass the other in the number of discoveries, to the point that out of haste, they would publish their research without scrutiny, which was sometimes about already discovered fossils or animals other than dinosaurs. The dispute between them reached childish levels. They would sabotage each other's work, steal fossils from each other, insult each other in the newspapers, and harass each other at excavation sites. But despite all this, the disagreement between them led scientific research forward. Collectively, they discovered about 140 dinosaurs. That is, most of the dinosaurs that we know today. If you like the video, do not forget to subscribe to the channel. Have a happy time. Goodbye!